Harry, thank you very much for being on the CEO Global Network podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Harry. First question I'd like to ask you, and I've been really looking forward to asking you this question because you recently received the Global Leadership Award at the RSM Latin American Conference in Santiago, Chile. And congratulations on that award,
Thank you.
Harry. What does it mean to you to receive that honor? Because it is quite an honor, isn't it?
First of all, John, great to be here. Nice to chat with you anytime. And thanks for letting me go back and revisit my moment of glory and the winning of the award. But with all seriousness, it was real testament to that people are noticing when you show up and you bring true empathy and you actually care about the outcomes you create, not just for yourself, because that's very self-serving, but for the outcomes for others. And it's really, I've been very deliberate and intentional about building a global network, bringing seamless solutions cross borders, but it only works if your teammates and your affiliates, wherever we do business, feel empowered and feel rewarded. And that is a reflection that I show up. So it's easy to join a Teams call and not go to Santiago, Chile in 12 hours. But when you come in person, and I've learned for 30 years being in this business, especially in professional services, people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. And that works also when you're talking about collaborating. It means a lot to me, but it's also a testament, and it was to all the actions I've been trying to convey, not just in Canada, but around the world where we do business.
Thank you for that. We've known each other for quite some time now, and so
Correct.
you have built, and I know you haven't done this alone. You've had help doing this, but you've built one of the most distinctive advisory practices in the country. What makes RSM so distinctive, Harry?
It's so funny because I wish I could say we got proprietary solutions and we have cornered the market on being the best auditor, tax advisor, and consultant. And that would be an overstatement. Our differentiator, honestly, starts and ends with our people, the culture we've created, turning culture into a currency, knowing how people, like as I mentioned, knowing how people do business, and they do it based on, know, like, and trust, and cultivating that culture within. We created something for RSM globally with something that I'm very proud of with my COO, Rhonda Klossler, which is called the Success Cycle. And it's been adopted now by the US firm, which is 20 times larger than the Canadian firm. And it goes back to first principles. Treat your people like gold. This would be like my father would say. This is our asset. We're in the people business. And if they feel so well treated and so inspired and buy into your vision, they imagine the outcomes they're going to create for their clients. And the outcome is financial success. And that's really, I can tell you, it's a simple recipe. I'm happy to share it with my competitors. Everybody believes that they have a best-in-class culture, but in RSM, you experience it, you feel it, and that's why we continue to see this as a big differentiator, and we will continue to invest in that experience, the talent experience, making it best in class.
Awesome. Thank you, Harry. How has your leadership approach evolved since you launched RSM in 2017? How has your leadership changed?
That's a great question because it has changed dramatically. I was running a single office in the city of Toronto. Now I'm running 6 offices across Canada, and I'm heavily involved in our global expansion and global integration. So when I was a due diligence partner, I would tell my clients, you don't know what you don't know. I had to basically say, I don't know a lot about building Canada-wide businesses, let alone global-wide businesses. So you kind of step back and with some deep humility, you learn that to scale a business, you have to really have empathy and trust. And the trust factor is not like, I'm going to wait for you to earn my trust. I've had to turn trust also into a currency and say, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to hire you or promote you, and I'm going to give you lots of room to succeed. And I can't be everywhere. So it's really been an evolution. And I tell you that I'm blessed with that this approach has paid huge dividends because I think what we're doing in consulting and tax in this marketplace has caught the market by storm. And we've gone from, being a small, medium enterprise in terms of the clients we service. We now service top companies in Canada. It's like the who's who of Canadian Fortune 500 companies. And it's not because of our brand. It's because of our people and how we show up. And I think it's a reflection of the leadership change. It's going from being command and control to trust and inspire.
Trust and inspire. Thank you for that. You've led many transformations, Harry, over the years. What's one belief that has anchored your leadership through these transformations? Is there
Oh,
one thing?
absolutely. I learned this, I've done many transactions for clients and now for ourselves. And I both buy and we divest. Like we are constantly trying to find where we should be and where we shouldn't be. My first transaction early on when I became in this role, so we were like early days, you know, $10 million business. And my first bold transaction was I was going to double the size with one acquisition. And it scares people. Like we've been running we were growing at 3% compounded for 15 years. And I'm not that. I want it to be 5 times bigger in 5 years. And it took 6 years, but we got there. And I was really struggling on this first acquisition. And I'm going to tell you, the advice was like rabbinical from Lionel Goldman, who was the chairman of a group called Collins Barrow at the time, when that was our name. We were an affiliate, an independent member. And Lionel, like I was struggling. I was telling Lionel, I'm so close. And he really wanted this to happen because we were going to make this Toronto office the anchor for Collins Barrow. And I just, like I said, you don't know what I'm going through to get this deal done. And he just said very quietly, said, Harry, keep your eye on the prize. And I love that. Focus on the outcomes. I now lecture, John, internally inspire people when they're looking to focus on outcomes. That's what clients want. That's what we want. Nobody wants to see how the sausage is made. They just want to see the outcomes that we can create. And that was a lesson I learned the hard way when I wasn't focusing on the outcome. Flipping it and that eye on the prize is it's our through line for everything we do.
On the prize. Harry, how do you keep the culture strong and consistent across such a fast growing and geographically diverse company? How do you keep the consistency of the culture?
So I think it goes back to our philosophy, John. I'm not trying to be the biggest firm. I want to make sure that everyone understands our growth is the outcome of good decisions and good behaviors. It's not a roll up. I don't really spend a lot of time on M&A today. It's a more on inspire people to cross the street, whatever street they are in Canada, and come join us. And I know the pedigree that they bring, and we're looking at that as our strategy. So it's like a go slow to go fast. And when you do it that way, you're actually curating the culture. So every person that is coming over, especially in the senior part of this business, is someone who is meeting the character, the values, the attributes. It's a shared vision, a shared philosophy. It's not the size of their wallet. It's the size of their character that I'm looking at. I know that that is not easy to sustain as we grow, but we've institutionalized our culture. So our culture and the attributes we're looking for are more than just ideas on a screensaver. Every one of our leaders embodies it. So you scale culture just like you scale other skill sets. And I think that's been our reason for our success and will continue to be the reason for our success.
RSM has a motto is the power of being understood. And you've kind of referred to this along the way in this conversation. What does that mean to you, Harry, on a leadership level, the power of being understood?
You know, it's funny. I'm a service provider, but I buy professional services. And I think everybody's buying professional services. You can't avoid it. You need lawyers, you need accountants. There's no, you need consultants. That's just the way it is. And I was thinking that how good does it feel when you've got an advisor in the room who gets you? My CEO advisor, Larry Taylor, he gets me. He understands me. He helps me. And that power of being understood, that's how you build trust. That's how you build relationships. Remember I said people do business with people they know, they like, they trust. That's just like an old adage. By the way, this is passed on from one of my business developers recently who reminded me that adage still works. That's how the marketplace still is relationship based, and trust and like and know is important. And I think for me, it's critical for us to bring that power of being understood to the marketplace. It's a real differentiator, but it's a fallout of all of our commitment to the values and attributes of what makes someone a real meaningful and compelling advisor. Are they curious? Are they empathetic? Are they collaborative? Are they listening? And I'm a big fan, you may see behind me, of pop culture.
Yeah.
So when I saw the play Hamilton, there's a great line, talk less, listen more.
Absolutely. I have a last question for you, Harry, and then we'll wrap
Sure.
up, okay? What advice would you give to young professionals looking to build a long-term career in consulting and accounting? What advice would you give them?
It's funny because this is something I'm at the stage of my career where I really got to think about, how are we going to sustain this? And what is the next generation going to look like? And there's a shortage of people, which is surprising, I mean, I enjoy what we do. I enjoy creating great outcomes for our clients and for our people. So I think for young people, like they are worried a lot about AI and what's that going to do and the geopolitical tension. Like there's so much clutter that besides, where they fit into this organization, which is not the same when I joined. I was employee 15. Like we're not 15. We are now going to be, by the end of the year, 23,000 people in an integrated platform between Canada, US, the UK, and Ireland. So all I say to them is you need to step back and I would say you're in the best position you've ever been. This firm has 600 different solution sets we bring to the market. When you play it forward, and you see what we're looking to do, we're looking to invest behind you, and you can be whoever you want to be. And I think we've really flipped the traditional accounting firm model on its side and said, you may start in audit, you may start in tax. I started in audit and I ran an advisory practice, transactions, M&A. And I thought that was amazing. But I have 599 other things you can do here. And I think that's what's exciting, being able to be part of something global, not just local, and realizing how interconnected this opportunity is between working with different countries. And when I think of the geopolitical tensions of the US kind of stepping back from the world, this is our opportunity for Canadians to lean in. And I just came back from Europe. You mentioned the Latin America Award. The amount of opportunity for Canadians to lead solution sets globally has never been better. And I just want to inspire the young people to say the future's never been brighter. You've got to lean in and embrace your passions and bring that to the marketplace. So hopefully that's going to inspire that next generation, and time will tell. But this is, we think a lot of the past may not be the same as the future, but it often rhymes, right? So,
Often rhymes.
Yeah. So that's just something that I still believe in, but it starts and ends again with them feeling and experiencing it. And I think our firm has become experts in experiencing culture, not just putting it on a screensaver. And we have enough awards to prove it. And not the awards we sponsor, but the ones that are independently verified by our people. Our people are our best advocates because it's their experiences. I always say the market is the single source of truth, and our people are also the single source of truth about our culture. And that's why we keep winning these awards, not because I say we're the great firm, because our people are saying it. So also part of our DNA and really embedding that into that next generation of leaders to sustain what we've built here, and hope it'll be for years to come.
Absolutely. Yes, best places to work, best places to work for inclusion, and a number of awards for your culture.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Harry, thank you so much for your wisdom and your inspiration.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
I found your comments extremely inspirational, Harry, and I can't thank you enough for being on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, John. And as you know, I'm a big believer in the organization that you've built, and I'm also a customer. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your support, Harry. We really appreciate it.